You can feel it when you look around. Something is missing. There's a void beneath the surface of modern life, and no one wants to talk about it. We've got access to everything, instant gratification, information at our fingertips, entertainment 24/7. And yet more people than ever are struggling to wake up in the morning and feel like there's a reason to even try. The grind keeps going, but the soul feels stuck. That's what happens when belief disappears. Not just religious belief, but belief in purpose, in meaning, in truth that exists beyond convenience. When you believe in nothing, life becomes a stage. You stop living and start performing for attention, performing for validation, performing just to feel like you matter. People chase degrees not because they love knowledge, but because they're terrified of being seen as less. They chase jobs not because they care about impact, but because the title might finally silence the voice inside that says, you're still not enough. Purpose gets replaced with productivity, and meaning is measured in metrics. We've been taught that if we look successful enough on the outside, we won't have to confront the emptiness within. And so the collapse of meaning happens slowly but deeply. People smile more in pictures than they do in real life. They make content about healing while breaking down behind the scenes. They post their highlight reels while feeling completely lost because somewhere along the way, we started believing that if we didn't have something tangible to show for our lives, money, likes, a brand, we were failing. That if we couldn't prove our worth in numbers, we weren't valuable. But here's the truth no one says out loud. When you believe in nothing, you stop knowing who you are. And when you don't know who you are, you'll believe whatever the world tells you until it breaks you. And the damage doesn't stop there. There's something even more dangerous than meaninglessness: numbness. Emotional apathy has become the norm. It's like people are moving through life half asleep. You ask them how they're doing, and they say, fine, but what they really mean is, I'm just trying to get through another day. They're not passionate. They're not inspired. They're not even angry anymore. They're just tired. Tired of pretending, tired of acting like they're okay, tired of hoping anything will change. And so they turn to the only thing they think might help them forget: distraction. We live in a world that glorifies overstimulation and then wonders why we're emotionally disconnected. People are constantly scrolling, binge-watching, eating, drinking, swiping, not because they're truly enjoying life, but because they're trying to escape the pain of not feeling anything at all. And the scariest part is most of them don't even realize it. They've numbed themselves so deeply that they think this is normal, that this is just adulting. But that numbness, that indifference, it's not peace. It's not calm. It's your soul waving a white flag. When you no longer believe in anything, there's nothing anchoring you to truth. So when the storms come, and they always come, you drift. You don't fight for what's right anymore because you're not even sure what is right. You don't speak up because you don't believe your voice matters. You don't love deeply because you've forgotten what it's like to feel alive. And when apathy becomes your baseline, morality starts to slip. Compassion fades, and cruelty doesn't even shock you anymore. Because when the soul is numb, even pain starts to feel like something better than silence. And if that weren't enough, here's the twist. We know this isn't right. Deep down, we all know something's off. That this wasn't how we were meant to live. That life is more than just surviving between dopamine hits. You don't have to be spiritual to feel the hunger inside you, that craving for something real, something pure, something that doesn't expire with trends or lose its value with age. That ache is your reminder you weren't made for a world without meaning. You weren't built to exist without belief. So why does it matter if you believe in something or not? Because belief gives you backbone. It gives you identity. It gives you direction. It's the difference between living on purpose or being tossed around by whatever's loudest. And in a time where everyone's chasing something, belief is the only thing that teaches you when to stop chasing and start standing. Because when you believe in nothing, you fall for everything. It's easy to look around at the chaos and blame the systems, blame the leaders, blame the media. But what no one wants to admit is that when you strip belief out of a culture, when you remove meaning from the center of society, people don't just stop believing, they start inventing. They create counterfeit convictions, false gods, artificial identities, and they cling to them not because they're convinced, but because they're desperate. Desperate to believe something, even if that something is rooted in division, outrage, or illusion. That's what happens when a generation is raised on cynicism and hollow promises. They turn ideology into identity. They stop asking if it's true and start asking if it feels good. And that's where it gets dangerous, because belief, real belief, anchors you to something outside yourself. But when that's gone, all you have left is you, your truth, your feelings, your mood on a Tuesday. And that's a shaky place to build your life on, because feelings change, moods shift, but the world doesn't wait. It doesn't slow down to let you figure it out. So you end up with millions of people walking around like ticking time bombs, offended by everything, grounded by nothing. Easily swayed, easily manipulated, easily broken. And the ones who see through the chaos, the ones who dare to ask the deeper questions, they get labeled as dangerous, as radical, as too intense. Because in a culture that's built on comfort, conviction looks threatening. And the truth is too inconvenient, too costly. So we push it away, distract ourselves, entertain ourselves to death. Meanwhile, the real war, the war for your soul, keeps raging under the surface. And no one wants to talk about it, because that would mean waking up. And for many people, staying asleep is safer. But silence isn't safety. Disconnection isn't peace, and meaninglessness doesn't end in neutrality, it ends in decay. It eats away at the fabric of everything: family, faith, community, courage. It creates a society where people don't trust each other, don't know how to suffer well, don't know how to hope, where the strongest emotion anyone feels is numbness or outrage, and both are equally exhausting. And what's worse, this isn't just about adults. The next generation is watching. They're growing up in a world that celebrates aesthetics over authenticity, reaction over reflection, noise over wisdom. They're being taught by example that meaning doesn't matter as long as you look good while losing it. And what do you think that does to a child's mind, a teenager's heart, when they see grown adults with no purpose, no direction, no depth, just endless scrolling and selling and performing? It creates a legacy of spiritual starvation, a lineage of hollow hearts, because we didn't just stop believing, we stopped modeling belief. We stopped being the kind of people younger generations could anchor to. We handed them a world full of upgrades, but no values, comfort, but no courage, convenience, but no clarity. And now they're left trying to build identities from scraps of noise and fragments of trends, praying that it somehow feels like home, but it never does. Because home isn't made of things, it's made of truths, real ones, the kind that hold up under pressure, the kind that stay when everything else falls away, the kind that say, even if the world forgets who you are, you still matter, you still belong. And that kind of truth only comes from belief, deep belief, not in yourself alone, but in something greater than you, something eternal, something sacred. We were never meant to walk through life unanchored. We were never meant to wake up and feel like none of it matters. That kind of despair isn't natural. It's a symptom, a sign that we've lost our way. But losing your way doesn't mean you can't come back. It doesn't mean it's over. It just means you have to stop running from the questions that scare you and start leaning into them. What do you believe in? Not just what you say out loud, but what your life actually reflects. What are you building, and will it last? Because if your foundation is comfort, one storm will take you out. If your foundation is performance, one failure will shatter your identity. But if your foundation is truth, deep, unshakable truth, then no matter what comes, you remain. Belief isn't optional, it's inevitable. The only question is, what are you believing in? And is it enough to carry you through the fire?